And for the very latest on this summit, we're going to go live to Stephen Gibbs in Fortaleza. And Stephen, how's the summit going? What can you tell us?
Well, the key update is that development bank, the BRICS Development Bank, is now an existing institution. Things were slightly delayed here. We're running about an hour behind schedule, and the belief was that there's a bit of negotiation going on between China and India as to the final detail of that arrangement. But what I can tell you is that they have decided that the bank will go ahead. It will have $100 billion capitalization, initially $50 billion, $10 billion by each of the BRICS nations. Now, the discussion that was going on between the Chinese president, who's actually speaking now, and the Prime Minister of India, we understand, was partly over where that bank will be headquartered and who will lead it. It seems that, in fact, it's certain now that I can tell you that the bank will be headquarters in Shanghai and its president will be from India. And this is all part of what the key, what's really behind the BRICS summit and what behind the whole BRICS movement really is to set up institutions that are, you can either say are complementary or rivals to the existing big institutions in the world that are dominated by the Western powers from post-World War II. So we're talking about the United Nations, the World Bank, the IMF. And this BRICS Development Bank, one key part of the BRICS jigsaw as they try and persuade the world and reform the global economic and political order more towards, they say, what is the reality at the moment. And that is, of course, that the BRICS nations represent almost 50% of the global population.
What are some of the other big issues that they're going to be talking about on the agenda, Stephen?
Well, really, that's the key big issue was this development bank. That's been what has the principal goal of the BRICS summits over the last 6 years. And on this meeting, this summit, the 6th summit, they have agreed that. Now, there have been plenty of other discussions. You've got to bear in mind, you've got 5 presidents from all corners, really, of the world here. And there have been bilateral meetings. You mentioned it in your introduction, an important bilateral meeting between the president of China and the new Prime Minister of India. They discussed the border dispute between China and India and also President Xi's forthcoming trip to India in September. We're currently hearing speeches from many of the leaders. We heard from President Rousseff, we've heard from the Prime Minister of India, and President Xi from China is speaking now. And certainly the theme that we've been hearing from all these leaders is welcoming the development bank and also sort of encouraging the BRICS to form other sorts of cooperations. It's an interesting grouping, the BRICS. It's not a political alliance, it's not an economic trading bloc, but it is, the leaders stress, an important way in which the developing world can make its voice heard throughout the world and can make the voice of the people it represents, that's 50% almost of the global population, give them a voice in this sort of new changing world order that they lead.
Stephen Gibbs reporting live from Fortaleza, Brazil. Stephen, thank you so much for the latest on that. And be sure to stay tuned to CCTV America as we continue team coverage from the BRICS Summit in Brazil all this week.